Well, we've all had a good night's sleep. Not if you're a bowler playing in this year's tournament and having to look ahead to a game in Sharjah. 428 runs were scored yesterday between Delhi Capitals and Kolkata Knight Riders. We've had so much to think about T20 cricket when it comes to Sharjah. And a few hours later, we're ready to go again. Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers in what will be the first afternoon fixture at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. So does that change the equation in any way? We'll find out on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. It's Mumbai Indians against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Tom Moody is here, 55 years young now. One more year that's gone by. Tom, I hope you enjoyed your birthday a couple of days back.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. And I was lucky enough to have a lot of well wishes as well, along with yourself. Yeah. Had a wonderful day. But as you will come across when you get older yourself, you conveniently forget how to count.
You can count on me to give you the right numbers. That's my job, Tom. Who shares a birthday with the father of the nation, with Mahatma Gandhi on the 2nd of October. So that tells you something. Can I call you I don't want to call you the father of the Sunrisers Hyderabad, but you do feel that emotion with that team. You're still trying to not say we when Sunrisers play. But they are playing today, and they're at Sharjah. 2 wins on the trot. All of a sudden, things seem to be falling into place for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, Tom.
Yeah, since Kane Williamson came into the playing 11, it's just given them a little bit of stability, hasn't it, in their top order. And it's allowed them to, I think, play without the fear of what's to come next. And we've seen also a couple of the young players step up once they've been given that opportunity. So that the confidence that another world-class player has brought to that top order has been critical in Sunrisers, I suppose, recapturing some sort of form, because they did start slowly.
Yep, and they would have loved to have a full-strength team against the Mumbai Indians in Sharjah. Unfortunately, both Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Khalil Ahmed miss out from the team that beat the Chennai Super Kings a couple of nights back. And in place of them come Sandeep Sharma and Siddharth Kaul. So those are the 2 changes for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And when you come to Sharjah, Tom, from what we've seen in this tournament, it's been a bowler's nightmare. You would have wanted your full-strength bowling attack. How big a loss is this to not have both Bhuvaneshwar and Khalil Ahmed?
Yeah, look, it is a big loss because, both of them have, played international cricket and hence have got the experience and quality about them. But not only that, they both have good defensive games as well. Bhuvi and Khalil, for that matter, have regularly been used as finishers for Sunrisers. So someone's going to have to fill that void of bowling those death overs, which in Sharjah extend from 5 overs to 10 overs, really, or you can nearly say 20 overs. Nearly the whole 20 overs are like death overs, aren't they? But to me also, I think, from Sunrisers' point of view, is that this is where the building of the squad over the years should start to pay dividends, because there is depth of quality. Siddharth Kaul has had a couple of very good seasons of IPL cricket. He comes into the side, his first chance to prove himself in this year's IPL, and Sandeep Sharma comes back into the side. And Sandeep played the very first, I think, game for Sunrisers, but then went missing. Again, a player that has got an exceptional record in IPL cricket. If you strip back and look at Sandeep Sharma's numbers, even though he doesn't run in and bowl 140 plus kilometres an hour, he's a very clever, crafty bowler. And you'll find his economy rate is up amongst the best, but he just doesn't come with any great stature in size. He's quite a small bowler, and he bowls very medium pace.
Yep. Sandeep Sharma makes a comeback into this team after playing just the first game against Bangalore. Sid Kaul's first appearance. He did start for the Sunrisers last season and then lost his way after 5 games. Just played the 1 game after that. So Sid Kaul returns. He's no new figure to the Sunrisers. Mumbai Indians are unchanged, which is something we did expect after a victory in their last game. Rohit Sharma has gone with the very same team. Very curious to see how Mumbai Indians bowl in Sharjah, given what we've seen before us at this ground. Let's go bit by bit. I really love to pick your brains, Tom, on what you tell a bowling group after you've seen 3 games in Sharjah, all of where you've seen a 220 being chased, a 220 again, almost not enough. And here come the bowlers again on what is the same pitch that was played on last night. It's also the first afternoon fixture. In any way, does that change things?
Yeah, well, I believe that the dew has played a minor role in the evening game. So the team having to field second have had to deal with a little bit of dew. So obviously during the day, they're not going to have any issues with that. The other thing to consider is the extreme heat. It's going to be very, very hot there. So, that's going to be challenging for the players, even though they're only out there for 20 overs. It's still going to be challenging the heat under pressure. What do you tell your bowlers? Well, my message to the bowling group would be very simple. This is a contest of how many boundaries out of the 24 balls that I've got in my allocation of 4 overs can I not be hit for? To me, the team that reduces the opposition team with the least amount of boundaries will win the contest. And that is the trend here in Sharjah. On the bigger venues, it's a different way to construct totals from a team perspective. The running hard, the twos, the possible threes, the singles, all those things come into play. Sharjah, it's all about boundaries. So I'd be talking to each and every bowler on an individual basis around how are they looking to prevent the opposition from hitting them for boundary, whether it's a 4 or 6. And that will look very different from batsman to batsman. So you look down the Mumbai Indians batting list, which is a very impressive batting list, and you need to have a plan for each individual player to how you can shut them down from hitting boundaries. You're not concerned about them hitting 1s or 2s. If anything, that's a plus. So what am I doing to stop them from hitting me for 4 or 6?
Yeah, I love that. And I think since it's you and me, we actually have the time to go deeper into this. Yesterday, we saw Anrik Nokia as the standout bowler of the day. Andre Russell went at 7 and over. You'd accept that. But you saw Rabada go for a lot of runs. So quality bowlers also at times can go the distance in Sharjah. I love what Gautam Gambhir said at the end of the game. And I asked him, why did Anrik Nokia succeed in the others? And he said he just stuck to his natural length, what comes naturally to him. Now, if you look at bowlers that Sunrisers have, there's no express pace. So if you're a Sandeep Sharma or a Sid Kaul, what is your delivery or what is your way to bowl to a Rohit Sharma, for instance, since we need to narrow it down? If you're bowling to a Rohit Sharma or a Quinton de Kock, what is the plan to ensure you don't get hit for as many boundaries, like you said?
Well, I think the first thing is that you want to be restricting them to one side of the field. So let's take Rohit Sharma, for instance. What will be important for both Sandeep Sharma and Siddharth Kaul is to make sure they're bowling very much a channel outside off stump. So they're looking to, if this is after the first couple of balls. First couple of balls, you attack the stumps because whether it's Rohit Sharma or any other player, you're vulnerable for the first few balls. So you don't want to lose that opportunity where the batsman might just play across one and you might trap them in front or bowl them through the gate. So certainly first couple of balls, attack the stumps. From there, you then resort to bowling a channel outside off stump, whether it be about 6 to 10 inches outside off stump, and have your field set to protect that. So what you're doing is asking Rohit Sharma to do something out of the ordinary, fetch a ball from outside off stump to try to hit you through the leg side. So you've only got, obviously, in the first 6 overs, the 2 outfielders because of the field restrictions in the power play. You need to think cleverly where you want those 2 outfielders. With that channel that you're bowling outside the off stump, it's absolutely crucial that you're changing your pace, particularly if you're of the pace of Siddharth Kaul and Sandeep Sharma, where you're not like an Andre Nokia who bowls 140, 145, and you can get that steep pace and bounce off a good length. You need to be constantly challenging the way the ball arrives to the batsman. Right. You can't be predictable. If you're predictable and bowling medium pace, forget it. There won't be enough balls in the umpire's room to be able to finish the game.
Yeah, fair enough. What we also see is sometimes you don't need to be at fault if you're a bowler at Sharjah. You could bowl the perfect ball with the perfect plan, still get hit. At what point do you actually change that? You've come with this and you said, no, I'm going to stick to this. Or at what point do you feel the pressure, 2 boundaries, 3 boundaries, and say, let me try something else? Plan B. Is there a plan B that you have to come with as a bowler when you come to Sharjah?
Absolutely, but not just Sharjah, any venue for that matter, but particularly Sharjah. But one thing you must do is not flip from plan A too quickly, because there's a reason plan A is because it is your best strategy, and it's your best strategy for a couple of reasons. One is because you've cleverly dissected the numbers, you've cleverly dissected the venue, and you've come up with plan A according to those two different situations. So it's really important you stick with plan A as long as you possibly can, because it going into the contest, it's clearly standing out as is the clear strategy to go with. We see so often players after a couple of balls that go for 4 or 6 suddenly think they need to change things, and then you're chasing the game. So you're better off trying to stick with what you've got for as long as you possibly can, and then have a clear and decisive moment where you shift to plan B. And you obviously got the buy-in of the captain. You then reshape your field, and you then go 100% with plan B and committed to plan B, not even thinking about plan A. The other thing's really, really important at a venue like Sharjah is just those subtle variations. And I'm not talking about knuckle balls or back of the hand slower balls. I'm talking about just slight changes of angle of delivery. You know, getting close to the stumps at point of delivery, going wide of the crease. So you're not changing plan A, but you're just making slight different changes to where you're releasing the ball. And just, again, making those challenges or asking those questions to the batsman constantly on the line and the length you're looking to bowl, but just releasing it from slightly different angles.
And is that something that's practiced often anyway by bowlers in the nets?
Absolutely, absolutely. All those things are really important to practice, because you can't suddenly expect to turn up on game day under pressure when you've been hit for 3 boundaries in a row and suddenly feel comfortable running in and delivering from wide of the crease or getting in nice and tight, which is probably not a natural release position for you. So these things are really important to practice and to groove, so it becomes automatic. You're doing it you're not doing it in a reactive frame of mind. You're doing it more in a proactive frame of mind. So you're just trying to keep ahead of the game. One thing you find challenging, particularly at venues like Sharjah, is not being too reactive to the situation. Accept that the ball's going to disappear. Accept that you're going to be hit for 6s, and accept that you're going to be hit for 4s. But you've got to be very clear to be able to, once that's happened, to be able to forget that moment and get back on the course of being very clear with your next delivery and not sort of living in the past, because it can be, it can be a cruel place.
Yes, I like the word you used, that the variation has to be subtle. We were discussing our Ashwin yesterday, who went for 26 of his 2 overs, and one of the observations that were made on the show were he was almost trying to bowl a different ball every ball, and Ashwin's got all the tricks, but it didn't work. So where do you, a bowler of Ashwin's experience has tried all of this and it didn't work, and at some point, can too many of these tricks go against you? Can too many variations go against you? So is it who has a bigger role here? Is it a captain who has a bigger role to go and dictate to the bowler how much he needs to change, especially when you've got so many young bowlers in the Sunrisers?
Well, I believe it's the bowler's responsibility. Put it this way. You don't go out there after every single ball to a batsman and tell him how to play the next ball. Yep. So it's the same from a bowling perspective. My philosophy when I'm coaching, I will always have the bowler take total responsibility for his 24 balls. We will do everything in our powers to prepare that bowler at practice, sitting down with the analyst, talking about, who he's bowling against, what his best options are, what he feels comfortable with. But once he's done that homework and that research and that practical execution of practice, really it's down to him to take responsibility, because ultimately it's going to fall back on him. So he doesn't want a situation where, the captain told me I should have been bowling wide of off stump, or, the senior fast bowler came up and said I should have been bowling leg stump Yorkers, and he's gone 4 overs for 50. He doesn't want that situation. You're better off taking that responsibility yourself because what that does also, it gives you absolute clear clarity at the top of your mark with what you're looking to bowl. If you're running in and trying to bowl a ball that someone else has suggested that you should be bowling, it's a lot harder to execute than a ball that you know you should be executing.
All right. I find that interesting because I have heard other analysts, Sanjay Manjrekar says he's of a huge opinion that the bowler has to be told. The bowler always has to be told. I know he idolizes Imran Khan, and Imran Khan has famously narrated over the years that he literally stood at mid-off to tell the bowler what to bowl every ball. Now, there is one way to reach success, but clearly you think that it's for the bowler to back himself and decide. What we do see sometimes, Tom, is bowler seems lost. Even a Kagiso Rabada can get hit for 6 and bowl the same ball. At some point, though, does the captain have a bigger role to play in these sorts of grounds where the bowlers are bound to get under pressure more than otherwise?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And the captain, in my views, responsibility is to reinforce the positives to the bowler. There's no point stating the obvious to the bowler. He's under enough pressure as it is. So it's up to the captain to make sure that he's reinforcing the bowler's strength. He's reinforcing, giving him clarity of what he should be looking to do, as in, what was the plan for Rohit Sharma here? What were you thinking prior to the game? What was your practice based around? So just bringing it back and clearing the mist for the bowler, because that's what happens when you're under pressure. Suddenly the mist, or whatever analogy you want to use, comes in, and then the confusion comes in. Therefore, the I suppose erratic approach that a bowler can have, which will cost him dearly. All due respect to Sanjay, that preaching to the bowler on exactly what ball he should be bowling, that's about 30 years dated. The game has moved on a long, long way since then, and the way that players prepare, the way that the game is analysed, and the way that this generation respond to taking responsibility for their actions is a lot more powerful than telling someone what to do. Captain's there to give a bowler and his team confidence and strength to be able to play with their strength and play with freedom without the fear of failure.
Sure. Let's talk tactically now. Let's get creative here. How creative can you get in a place like Sharjah? Can you keep the regular matchups that you would in a game in mind and say, all right, I have Rashid Khan, I want to be using him against Pandya and Pollard, so that's how I'm going to use him differently. I'm not going to bring him on as early. Could that be a potential conversation, or do you still want Rashid Khan to have maximum impact, bowl the overs that he's good at, when there's the threat of Pollard and Hardik both in form coming in later?
Yeah, look, I think you slightly change your tactics here, because if you're holding back Rashid Khan, the game could be lost in the first 10 overs. So I think the game, because of the nature of how it's played out in Sharjah, where you're talking totals of around about that 210, 220 mark as par totals, I think you need Rashid Khan to influence the game early. So I would be using him to impact the game early. And even at venues like Sharjah, if you can have some sort of influence on the scoreboard with wickets taken, it does sort of give you that little sense of comfort and confidence, and also puts pressure on the batting side. And therefore, you may find yourself in a position where you're restricting the side to under 200. And if you do that, you've done a brilliant job there in Sharjah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to have you get back with your old Sunrisers hat. I want you to put it on, the big Sunrisers hat. And just two batsmen. There's Rohit Sharma and there's Kieron Pollard. You know the form they're in. You know the bowlers you have. Tell me what's plan A to Rohit Sharma, and tell me what's plan A to Kieron Pollard.
Oh, gosh.
Pick your bowler, whoever the bowler. Pick one bowler.
Yeah, look, early on against Pollard, I'd be keen to get Rashid Khan on if he's got overs left. So even if he's not bowling, that'll be my first change of bowling at the other end as soon as Pollard comes to the crease, because he, like any batsman, are at their most vulnerable for the first 6 to 10 balls they face. So Rashid Khan is a bowler that can knock him over, get him out, whether it be Boulder or Bedin. That'll be what I'd be encouraging Rashid to try to do, is try to, trick him with one of his quicker wrong-uns and trap him in front and get him out LBW. Not to bowl too full to him, because Pollard is in such good form at the moment, and obviously with the size of the ground, he'll just hit through it and hit it out the ground. With Rohit Sharma, I'd be keen to match him up against Sandeep Sharma, purely because I'm just, again, I might be slightly off here, but from memory, statistically, Sandeep Sharma has actually got quite a good record against Rohit Sharma. So just with the brand new ball swinging, and given that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's not playing, I think there is a possibility that Sandeep just might be a good matchup early on against Rohit Sharma whilst that white ball's swinging. We know that the window of that is very limited, but that's what I'd be looking to do. The other thing with Rohit Sharma is that Sunrisers they unfortunately don't have Khalil Ahmed in the playing 11, but they've got Natarajan, where the left arm going across Rohit Sharma, I think, is also a good option, and it's also a reasonably good option for Pollard as well. So I quite like that the angle the left-hander will produce to both of those batsmen.
Brilliant. Now let's talk about Mumbai Indians. This has been great stuff. It's like I could put in my CV now for management, perhaps, in not the about 6 leagues lower or 7 leagues lower. Let's look the other way now. Mumbai Indians, I'm sure there'll be some conversation. How many balls do I want to give Kieron Pollard to have a real impact on this game? Similarly for Hardik Pandya, while Surya Kumar Yadav has been in decent touch and Ishan Kishan has been in decent touch, what's that number? If let's say Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock get off to X a start, if X number overs, that's when I want Pollard in. And what's that number for you for Kieron Pollard with the form that he's in?
Well, I think Mumbai are in a privileged position where they've got all their top order except for Quinton de Kock in form.
Yeah.
So I don't think the argument for Pollard coming in early is an issue. I think it's more about the top order. This would be my instruction to the top order, is that their target for this game is to hit 30 plus boundaries. And that's obviously a combination of sixes and fours. So I would be challenging the top 6 players to be looking to take on that as a challenge. I want 30 plus boundaries in the 20 overs. So that's at least 1.5 boundaries an over.
Yeah.
How you do that, who you target, is totally up to your own personal strategy, but making sure that that's what the team goal is, that's what our mantra is for this game at this venue, is that, yes, we're looking to, knock the ball into gaps and make sure we're not, consuming dot balls, but we're going to win this game by hitting 30 plus boundaries, because we believe our batting lineup has got greater depth of power hitting than what the Sunrisers batting lineup is. So if we're hitting 30 plus boundaries, there's no way that our bowlers are going to allow Sunrisers to go close to 30.
Sure. Sandeep Sharma already has the new ball in hand, so on cue we expected that in Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's absence, and we're all set for Mumbai Indians against Sunrisers Hyderabad in Sharjah. It's been a unique tournament this year's IPL in a way that fans haven't been able to physically be present in the stands, but nothing to worry though, because watching is the new everything, and we've got some stunning visuals from the host cities for our fans. That's not bad. You've been to the UAE more than I have, Tom. Good memories of it?
Yeah, look, it's a great spot. It really is. It's not such a great spot if you're at the top of your mark running in Sharjah and you've got Sachin Tendulkar looking to hit you out the ground. But apart from that, yeah, there's plenty of things to do.
Yeah, I can see that even though you're 55 now, that memory hasn't gone. It stays very much with you. as it does with a lot of Indian fans. Brilliant. So we're all set to get underway in Sharjah. Tom Moody, thank you very much. Let's pick up this conversation in 20 overs from now. One of the most exciting batting lineups of the Mumbai Indians at one of the best places to bat in the world, the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. It should be a match made in heaven. Can the Sunrisers spoil it? We'll discuss that in Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.